Y'all already know what it is. Your boy Yaakov, what it do? The outlet to reality, the holdest podcast in Vegas and Chicago. What up? This is the place where you want to hide from your drama or maybe hide from your baby mama. Aha! Just kidding. But anyways, fans, thank you for staying tuned. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Ching! And today we have a very special guest, one of the most successful people out there. Give it up for Ernest. What's up, brother?
What's going on, my man?
It's an honor, brother. It took me a minute to get you. I had to call a couple agents, there was too many. You know what I'm saying?
Well, we making moves out here. So, hey, beautiful, man. Like the community, everything that we're doing, man, is just blowing up on so many levels. Like I'm dropping my third book. My mentees are creating businesses. Like it's so much, but I don't want to get into all that just yet.
Right.
I appreciate you having me on, bro. Let's do this.
Man, for sure. And for my fans out there, I do want to share this. So Michael, who's Ernest's brother, I actually know Michael my whole life. Like since I was, I gotta say, about 18 years old. And Michael's been like a big brother. We call it in Hebrew charuso, meaning my Torah study partner. Anytime we have a question about life, we study together, whether on the phone, in person. And he knew one of my closest cousins who was like almost the same age as Michael. And they were like best friends. And when when he wasn't around no more, he passed away. Michael started to come to me. Like we actually got closer. I think because of that we got closer, and it's amazing, man. Michael's so smart, man. Like I learned a lot of stuff from him. I'll be picking at his brain, and so he was like, man, you got to talk to my brother Ernest. I'm telling you, he's gonna shock you. And I said, man, okay, all right. So I called him last week. We had like a morning, and I was funny because I called him and I was like, hey, you awake? And you're like, yeah, man, I'm watching the football game. Let me get my coffee.
Yeah.
So it was really nice. And I was really happy that, I could finally meet you, Ernest. And Ernest, I want you to share a little bit about your background and a little bit how you grew up.
All right. Yeah. And I want to touch on my brother too. So shout out to Mike. Me and Mike have a story. I'm not sure if he shared it with you, but we have the same father. And I had a picture of Michael when I was 5 years old. The last time I seen my father, I was 5. And he came to Christmas and brought me a Galaxia game, and he brought me a picture of my little brother. And I held on to that picture my whole life. I met my brother when I graduated with my master's degree. I was 38. And I had never met my brother, and he came down to St. Louis for my graduation ceremony. And man, it was the first time I ever met my blood brother.
Whoa.
So shout out to Michael, man. But yeah, it's my background it's not the best. We came up in a different era. And when I was 18, I was lost, had nobody to look up to for real. Mom worked so hard. I didn't want to be like her. And the guys that I did used to look up to, that was during the crack epidemic. So a lot of them got turned out, basically, for lack of better words, even though I'm wearing a dope shirt. We ain't with the dope at all. The dope actually means dominating on purpose every day, But yeah, man. So we grew up and it was rough, man. Like a lot of these youngsters don't understand how it was different back in my day. So that there alone helped motivate me to do what I'm doing now, because, if you look at my book, Corporate Convict, go out and get it, by the way, you look me up. It's in paperback on Amazon. But in Corporate Convict, it states, I did a lot of time in prison. I wasn't the best of people when I was a teenager, but at the age of 18, I had a 20-year sentence and didn't know what to do, and got out 10 years later and didn't know what to do because I was never trained on how to be successful. I was trained on how to survive. So I went back after that 10 years and did 22 more months. And that's when everything changed, bro. Like the world changed. I was sitting in prison and I told everybody, I said, in fact, they asked me, you know, where are you going to be in 5 years? That's the common statement. And I told them, I said, you know, I'm going to be walking into my office telling my administrative assistant to hold all calls in a suit and sitting at my desk. This is my vision when I was in prison. I was going to be that six-figure guy. And I accomplished all that.
Wow.
So, yeah, I did that on the corporate tip and, you know, overcame a lot of those things. And even in the corporate convict book, it tells you how I overcame some of my fears and some of the things that life was throwing at me when I was going to college. I got my master's degree. I mean, I got out in 2007, bro, with a GED, still on parole and 3-time felon. Like, who's going to touch me, you know? But I don't believe in what society says is the norm. I make my own norms. So I navigated through those corporate shark-infested waters and got the bag, you know? So a lot of that leads into, again, why the WTF is what it is and why I'm trying to help these young men come up and start this adulting thing. And man, just ask yourself, if you could pour all your knowledge into your 18-year-old self, what would you be at 30? Think about that.
Yeah, I'll be rich, man. You know,
Right.
I'll be driving a Lambo, be like, hey, how you doing? How you doing? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly, man.
Hey, but fam, you gotta tell the fans, man. This is what is gonna blow their mind. Tell them what is WTF mean.
So most of us, when we see WTF, we think what the, you know, but this is what's the formula. So the whole goal of the academy and the mentorship is to teach young people, 17, 18, 19, 20 years old, how to start adulting. Because the WTF, the first thing we say, all right, you about to get out of high school, you need to figure it out. You're gonna have to get up out of my house, you're gonna have to get your own place, go to college, whatever you want to do. And these young people are like, what the? So I'm saying, okay, let's change the energy of the what the and change it to what's the formula. And that's what we're teaching them in this academy and showing them how you can come up. And it's focused on young men. And, you know, even though we've left out the young ladies for now, you know, if the demand is great enough, we can focus on that too. But I focused on young men because of a promise that I gave to my mother. And she told me, my mom was the hood mother that took in everybody. I mean, we always had extra cousins that we didn't know, and we still got those same cousins today, you know, because that my mom helped them when they didn't have anywhere to stay and things like that. So when she passed from cancer last year, she told me, make sure you take care of my boys. And her boys now were all of my nephews and, you know, the young generation of the family, because she knew I was the one being successful out of the family and she wanted me to take care of them. So I said, okay. So I started with, I call them my first 5. And I started mentoring the first 5. And I thought, man, there's so many people that can use this information and this knowledge. And we said, you know what, let's take it to another level. And that's what we're doing January 23.
I love it, man. I love it. I do want to pick on that with mentorship.
Okay.
So when I was young, I didn't grow up with a father. My father kind of came in and out of my life. He only lived like 5 blocks away. He was not that far from my mom's crib. And it was kind of sad that I didn't have someone to really look up to. And so I had to look at the streets. Who was willing to take me in their wing and teach me the ropes, right? And so when I got older, I remember one time I called my father. I said, Father, I'm going to Mexico. I just want to let you know it's my first time meeting your side of the family. And I was 18, was 17. And my dad's like, you know, Mexico's dangerous. If something happens to you, I'm not gonna come see you. And he says that you're on your own, and he's like, you shouldn't go. And so I told my dad when I finished the conversation, I said, that's my family now. Your family disowned you because you left your son. So that's a whole nother situation. I'm going there to understand my roots that you never taught me, like where you came from. And so I said it, I'm still going because my favorite aunt in Mexico, who I've never met, her name was Tia Alba. She bought me the ticket. So I'm like, I'm still going. And I hanged up, and I was sad because I didn't want to hear those words, what he just said. If something happened to you, I'm not going to go there and help you out, right? So I called my mentor. I hit him up and I told him, hey, fam, I'm going to Mexico for the first time. I'm excited. I'm a little nervous. He goes, when you go there, let me know you make it. He's like, I've been there 6 times where your family's at. And he goes, if anything happens to you, if you need money, anything, I'll fly out there. I got you.
Awesome.
So it's like God, even though I didn't want to hear it from my dad, like I wanted to hear that same words from my dad, my mentor told me what I needed to hear. And
that's
so,
awesome, man.
right, young people, that's the thing. When you don't have a father, you try to find it sometimes to the wrong way. You find it through relationship. You find it through, it could be drugs to fill that void. You didn't have that father. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And so I think what you're doing is amazing because you're uplifting young men to become men.
That's right. That's the goal. We want to start them to adulting. And I grew up the same way. And I have 3 mentors. So I believe in mentorship. And the reason why I believe in mentorship is because I want people who's done it. Tell me how to do it. Help me out. Teach me how to be better. I can't get a mentor that's not doing as well as me. I mean, I don't take advice from people that are not doing as well as me as much as I take advice from people who are doing better and making a greater change out here. But having a mentor, a lot of times the parents don't have the time to really focus on the do's. They just focus on the don'ts and tell them what not to do. Don't do this, don't do that, don't do this. You'll end up like this, but how rarely do we talk about the do's? Let's talk about what we need to do. You taught me what I don't need to do, how to, you taught me right from wrong, but tell me what I need to do to start this adulting thing. But a lot of the parents are focused on their careers because that's our generation has always been career focused because we were in survival mode and we wanted to make sure that our kids didn't go through the same struggles we went through. And we did that for the most part. A lot of us did that, but now they're at that age of 17 and 18 and we've been protecting them so long and keeping them away from the don'ts that now they don't know what to do. So we got the formula in the academy. I have multiple coaches that's going to be assisting. I mean, it's happening now, and it's just beautiful to see these young men step up. And for those, go follow the W.T.F community on Facebook. It's the What's the Formula Academy. You'll see some of the videos and different things that the mentees are dropping, but seeing their mind just start to change is amazing through this mentorship. And yeah, we believe in the Migos, bro. It's an acronym. A lot of times we look at motivational speakers and they get us hyped up. Pastors, they get us, at the temple and we get rah-rahed up every time we have a meeting and we're motivated and we start to move and then it goes away. And then we have to do that again in the next meeting. But what if you had your motivation with you every second of every day for the rest of your life? What could you accomplish if you had your coach in your ear every second of every day for the rest of your life? The coach is you. You're your own coach. You're your biggest fan. So I believe in self-talk. But with the motivating, going back to the Migos, we believe in motivation, but we believe in motivation with instruction. and guidance and ongoing support. That's the me goals: motivation, instruction, guidance, ongoing support. Because not only are we going to motivate you, we're going to instruct you on how to achieve your goals. We're going to provide you guidance and connections on how to achieve your goals and how to become successful. And it's going to be ongoing support, because once you go through this academy, it's a lifetime membership. If you have a business and your business even slows down, we'll promote you. I mean, it's a lot of different things we're going to do in the academy with all of our young men. And it's just exciting, bro, because I wish we had this when I was young, because we didn't. And I went the route I went. And it's not because I didn't have good people in my life telling me, right from wrong, but I wasn't motivated by anybody in my life to be like them or to do what they were doing. So I had to find my own way. And the quickest way was selling drugs. So that's what we got into, clicked up, selling drugs back in the 90s, wilding out. But we want to prevent that from this generation and teach them how to use this digital market and to use their brain to create their own paths to prosperity. Because most of them, well, not most, a lot, there's a large portion of young men who don't care for the military, who don't care for college. They don't care for the institutional upbringing after high school. They want to do it a different route. So come on over to the academy. We'll teach you how to do it a different route. If you can't get anything else out of this academy, you can definitely get a book. I mean, just that's a book in itself. I'm fresh out of high school. I have no clue. People will buy that book because it's a lot of people fresh out of high school that's in this gap year and they don't know what they need to do. Well, we got the formula in this academy, bro, and they need to come on. It's a 6-month academy, and then it's ongoing after that. But the 6 months is intense. And we're making some changes, and the whole thing is about, everybody talks about generational wealth. That's a buzzword, generational wealth. What is it though? A whole bunch of money? No, that's not generational wealth. People have been a part of generational curses for years.
Yep. And
I hate using that word curse, so I use patterns, generational patterns on how they should be, chips off the old block. But a lot of these young men don't want to be a chip off the old block because that old block ain't did nothing.
Right.
That old block hasn't achieved nothing. So why I want to be like a chip off that block? I want to create my own. So we teach them and we help them, bring them up to really find out what their niche is. What do you want to do? I have one, he's a power lifter. He's 17, about to break a world record. Damn. At 17 in powerlifting. I have another 18-year-old who has a body like Atlas. Like, this dude is ripped and he's finna train, because training is part of our academy. We want him to be fit too. We want, because the more fit you are, the more successful you feel. It's an energy. It's all about the energy. And that's what we're trying to get these guys to understand and develop and change that mindset, because we got a lot of old programming in us that we need to remove and replace with new programming, because just removing it, it'll come right back.
Yeah.
You take out all the furniture out of your apartment and don't buy new furniture, but you put it in the garage, guess what? You're going to go back and get that old furniture because you don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So not only are we replacing the old programming, the old furniture, we putting in some new plush stuff.
That's deep, man. I like that. It's very, what you said reminded me of a book I read. I like reading a lot of different books, and especially on philosophy, law of attraction. They talk about how so when you grew up, like all of us in the world, we got a lot of negative seeds that got planted in our head growing up. We thought that was normal, that we should do that. When we got older, I remember, it's called emotional wounds. That's what it's called, emotional wounds.
I gotta check him out.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's from the book Four Agreements. You should check it out. Don Miguel Ruiz, my favorite author of all times. And he breaks it down, and he says that we have to change it, kind of like what you're saying, change it by creating new seeds.
Mm-hmm.
And like, here's a great story. It says in the book, there was a part in the book where this little girl, she loved singing all the time. And one day her mom came home from work stressed, and she said, "Shut up, you have an ugly voice." And the
Wow.
kid grew up believing that I have an ugly voice. So when it was time for her to meet other people, other classmates, the older she got, she would never open up because in her head, she believed she had an ugly voice. So he
Yeah.
teaches how to break that, any like I said, emotional wound that you received growing up, and how to break it and create new positive seeds, like kind of what you're saying, patterns. And I love it because it's so deep. So his 4 agreements that he brings up, it's amazing. It's don't be personal, don't make assumptions, always do your best, and be impeccable with your word.
Yes. I
If
like
you
that.
Right, it's deep. So if you
Yeah.
do those 4 things, he said that's the best way to live life free. So he breaks down that when you don't take things personal, even if someone says um that you're ugly, you're stupid, it's a reflection of themselves. It's not really
Right.
you. You should already know you're good looking, you're smart, you're healthy. Even if they even say they love you, you still don't take it personal, because it's not about, it's about them feeling love within themselves. So you hear it, you're like, okay, all right, all right. You know what I'm saying? Man? You're
Yeah.
like, I know, I know. You know what I'm saying? I know. And you know what I'm saying? And the one with the be impeccable with your word, that's the most powerful one too. I think it's like when you have, so when you say you're gonna do something, you stick with your word. Your
That's
word is
right.
powerful. Your word can destroy everything around you, or it can create beautiful things around you. As well, you got to be very cautious when you know you're gonna do something. I had an incident that happened where um somebody I knew got very upset and made a big scene in front of me and in front of a lot of people.
Mm.
And I had the moment to lose my cool. You know, they were yelling, screaming, but I had 2 options. I had, should I act the same as this person and embarrass myself and look like a fool in front of my
Mm.
peers, or I should wait until that person calms down and then talk to them? And that's what I did. I waited, and I know that person wanted to get a reaction from me, and I was playing it cool. I was like, hey, I was talking to somebody next to me. I said, hey, let me show you a funny video. I was ignoring him for him. It's like, you know, I was keeping cool. And
Right.
then at the end, I was able to pull that person to the side and talk, but I was cool. I was still cool. So it's all about controlling your ego. Your ego
Oh,
sometimes can get the best of you. You already know, as a man, you already
yeah.
know.
Oh man.
But I
Yeah.
always,
The ego and pride is it's been the downfall of a lot of great people.
right?
You know, and we teach some of this emotional intelligence within the academy with our young men. You know, because again, like as you stated, we have programs in our brain that we've been taught for years, for our whole life. We've
Yep.
been programmed by our parents, by society, by, you know, hurt and pain and loving feelings. All of this has programmed us to be where we are today. But the beauty of the brain is that it can be reprogrammed.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to remain that way. It can if you wanted to, and you leave it there. You've seen certain people, their elevator hit a level and it stopped,
Yeah.
and they have no desire to move above that. So it's like that cliche: you can't tell them nothing. You can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Right.
I disagree. It just depends on the old dog. So if you want to learn and change your mind and rewire your brain to be successful, because we're taught to survive, we're not taught to be successful. But we look at survival as being successful, and it is if you're in the survival mode and you get like, I survived. I made it to 21. I made it to 30. I survived, I lived this long. But is that truly living, or are you existing? So we're trying to teach them how to use their brain and their emotional intelligence to build wealth. I mean, these are young wealth creators, movers and shakers. All they do is play video games and play on their phone with social media. Do you know how much money they can make playing video games and playing on their phone with social media? They don't even realize it, but that's what we're teaching them, because the digital market with cryptocurrency and everything is going digital, bro.
Yeah.
And these kids are being brought up in the digital age that we were not. So we're not even supporting them in that. We see that, oh, back in our day, we didn't have the internet. Everybody didn't have a cell phone.
Yeah.
So yeah, we went outside more. Yeah, we did all these things that this generation isn't doing. But what would we had did if we had a cell phone and the world at your hands? They have the world in the palm of their hands. And what we're trying to do is get them to understand that you are great.
No.
You are a king. You are a God in my eyes. And why are you not living that way? Why is the universe not giving you what you want? And so I believe in that law of attraction, as you stated, because what we plant into our brain, these seeds, and, you know, I work for a agronomical company. I'll leave it at that. And what I learned is you can have a field and plant corn and it'll grow and create you a lot of wealth. You can't grow it the next year. You can't plant the same seed into that field because that corn took so much from that field that you got to plant a new crop because it won't grow back to back. And I found that out. I thought, wow, I never knew that. This is a fact. For any farmer out there that's listening, they know that when you get to a certain field after it's been planted and harvested, you have to plant a different crop to build the nutrients and things like that back into the soil before you can plant another round of corn. So a lot of times we plant our seeds into a field and, hey, that field might be dried up. It's time to move on because we've been wondering why we're not reaping what we want. Well, I sowed the seed, but you put it in the wrong field. So a lot of times those fields could be our family members, could be our loved ones, could be our girlfriends, our spouses. You know, those could be fields that you call yourself planting into, and it's just not going to reap you much at all. So you have to refocus that energy into self. You got to plant the seeds within you. And to me, seeds are daily habits. They become goals, daily habits, and things that you do on the regular. As you stated, just because you remove a bad habit doesn't mean anything until you fill that void. Because now you have a portion of your life removed. What are you going to replace it with? Because if you don't replace it, then the old programming will go right back to where I'm not good enough. I'm not, been told all your life, you ain't nothing. Right. You ain't gonna be nothing. You ain't gonna be telling. I mean, parents bully the hell out of kids. I used to do it. I have 3 teenage boys right now in my house that I'm bringing up. And early on, I used to be the same bully, telling them, man, if I had all this, I'll be doing this, I'll be doing that. You all got a big, beautiful house. You don't want to do nothing. We used to be struggling, but how am I comparing my upbringing to theirs? Because I made sure they didn't go through what I went through. So why would they even think how I think? They don't know how it feels to go to bed hungry. Yeah. I made sure of that. You all made sure of that. But now they're sitting around thinking, I don't know what to do with the rest of my life. I'm an adult. I'm afraid my parents are going to kick me out. I'm afraid I don't know what to do. And man, we're here to help them. So the parents, and it doesn't even have to just be single parents. Some other parents are so busy with their career, they don't have the time to invest into their children. That's truly legacy right there. Legacy to me is when I pass, I've touched so many young men and people, since through the whole academy, through my entire life, that my legacy will forever live on through them and watching them progress and take over this world. Because, yeah, we're creating leaders out of this group. And as I stated, it's not going to be easy for everybody. Everybody's not going to enjoy everything that we do in the group. And it's not even going to make sense because we're reshaping mindsets. We're not just jumping from 0 to 100. We want to, there's a path that you have to go down to even get your brain to believe in you. Mm-hmm. Like most of us don't believe in ourselves. And that's because of how we were brought up in all these old programs, like the young lady you mentioned. Could have been the best singer in the world, but we have these old programs saying you're nothing. You're just like your daddy. You ain't gonna do nothing in life. And we steady tell our kids that you're not as good as me. Because if I had what you had, I'll be doing great. We tell them that all the time, man. And so in the WTF, we don't play those. All we talk about is wins. We don't talk about losses. We don't talk about bills. We get it. Everybody has to life. You have to live life. You have to survive. We get that part. Those are your needs. But what do you want? Because we want you not only to survive, but to live and live in abundance. Abundance is your birthright, bro. Abundance is our birthright. So these children, we say they feel entitled. They do. We made them feel entitled, and they should feel entitled. They should feel entitled to everything that this universe has to offer. Why not them? What makes somebody else better than them that has all this wealth and all this power and just fame and glory? And they're sitting right here like, why not me? They feel it, they shouldn't have to break their backs to get it. If you can use your brain, it'll outwork your back any day.
Oh, I love it, brother. No, that's really good. I like that, like, especially leadership, you know, talking to the youth, giving them empowerment, I think is beautiful. I'm proud of you for doing that, fam. I'm gonna have to wrap it up because Zoom is about to kick me out. So everybody, this is the Outlet to Reality. They'll hold this podcast in Vegas and Chicago every Tuesday. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Ching! And y'all know where to find me. I'm on Instagram, Spotify, YouTube, the Outlet to Reality. My TikTok is at Yaakov28. And my Snapchat is Take One Pass It. And fam, where can my fans find you?
Oh, look up the W.T.F Men's Academy. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I need to get on some other ones too. But yeah, look up that W.T.F. It's What's the Formula Academy. We changing lives of these young men and doing some great things out there. So come and support us, y'all, and be dope.
I like that. I like that.